Hey, you guys, we are back with another spoonful of encouragement for you. This week, I encourage you to see the good in people, and sometimes you have to look a little bit harder than others. Yesterday, while I was out and about running a few errands, I went to a place, and when I pulled into the parking lot, I saw someone who was very loud, belligerent, and their behavior was absolutely unruly and undesirable. And I saw that and heard them before I even parked my vehicle. So I purposefully parked away from them and chose to take a few extra steps to get to the place of business. And I remember getting out of the car and thinking to myself, wow, I really want nothing to do with them. And I went into the place of business, and moments later, sure enough, they walk in. And I was like, of course they're here. And, I'm trying to take care of everything that I need to take care of. And somehow, as I was leaving, they were in my path to exit the store. I knew that I was going to have to interact with them because I know how God does me. So I'm, finishing up my transaction and hoping that they walk away from the exit, and they don't. And while I'm finishing up and the final points of the transaction, I heard God say, speak into their life. And I was obedient, but I was like, come on, Jesus. And so I started looking at them, looking for something good. All I know about this person is loud, belligerent, obnoxious, unruly, undesirable, and of course, people's behavior, that thing on the inside shows up on the outside, so I took a second to put, my things together, taking a deep breath and looking without being in their face. And as I was walking out, sure enough, they lock eyes with me as I was exiting the place. And I stopped and looked at them, and they were looking at me, not really angry, just kind of blank. And, so I thought for a second, and I was able to think of a few words of encouragement to say to them. And while I was speaking, I kept it very brief. While I was speaking to them, I could see barriers and walls coming down. And they listened to everything that I said. It wasn't long at all. And they looked at me, maintaining eye contact the entire time. And they said, you know what? I was having a really tough day and I really needed that. Thank you so much. And I said, of course, I'm here to encourage anyone who is willing to listen to me talk. And they were like, well, I heard everything that you said, and thank you so much for stopping and saying something to me. I really needed to hear that. And I could see their eyes start to water a little bit. And I was like, it's not a problem at all. It cost me nothing to stop and be nice just for a moment. And then, they said, thank you so much. And that was it. I rather quickly made my way to my vehicle, and that was it. It was just a moment, a minute and a half of my day, and it cost me absolutely nothing. And I pray that the words change a lot of things for them. Okay. And it's all God, it's not me at all. That was all God, because if it was up to Kimberly, I would have hurried up, got my things, and probably used a different door to get out of the building to further avoid any contact with this individual. But that's why it's so important to let God lead you, okay? Because Flesh and Kimberly wanted nothing to do with them, They could very well be a great person, They could have they said they were having a bad day, okay? And that reminds me of the saying or quote I saw on social media where it says, Judas was in fact Judas the betrayer, but Peter was having a bad day. So that person, I'm not saying that they're a terrible person. Their choice of words, we're all growing. In the parking lot, it was words I dare not speak, but we're all in a place of growth. Those are words that I used to say a lot. So, thank God for healing and changing. And if he can change me, he can change anyone. So prayerfully, that was either planting or watering a seed that was already there. So my encouragement for you is to see the good in people, even when they are showing you a very ugly side, even when you don't want anything to do with them, even when you are interested in going out of your way to avoid contact with them. If God says speak life, you speak life, okay? Obedience is better than sacrifice, okay? It is far more important to do what God says do instead of what you want to do. There's no telling what that person would have done the rest of the day. You know, maybe they would have done something terrible to someone or something terrible to themselves because maybe they were having just that bad of a day, and we don't know anyone's limits or mental capacity. So, dig deep sometimes, look a little deeper, and make sure you stay ready and in position to be obedient and to speak a word of encouragement, speak life into people at any moment, okay? God knows what he's doing. There's a reason that right when I pulled up, they were out there, and there's a reason they were acting a straight fool, and there's a reason, of course, they came into the store where I was. Great. But God, okay? So that's what we're doing this week. See the good in people. Sometimes it's not easy, but you can find something. This week, see the good in everyone, especially the ones who show their ugly side, especially the ones who show their ugly side over and over and over again. There's got to be something good down in there, and I encourage you to identify it and speak on it. All right? You all be encouraged in Jesus' name.